Ladies and gentlemen, the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, is testifying today. Yesterday we had absolutely amazing testimony. Soon, imminent, however you want to describe it, Andrew McCabe is going to get, the legal consequences. He's going to receive the legal consequences for trying to oust and remove a duly elected president. On his way to doing that, he will receive the repercussions of not telling the truth under oath, lacking of candor with the intent to deceive, because his spouse received close to $700,000 from Terry McAuliffe and Clinton allies and Democrats in Virginia. That wasn't a coincidence. That was a legal, it's called legal graft in the United States of America. So it's not like the Golden Moo stuffs McCabe's pocket full of $100 bills. But he eventually, after his spouse received around $700,000 from Terry McAuliffe, Virginia governor, with direct ties. He was a Clinton Foundation fundraiser. Actually, there are numerous controversies regarding that. Once the spouse gets $700,000, a year down the road, 6 months down the road, what's that? I'm investigating the Clintons? How was I ever supposed to know? Maybe it came out that, she's using a private server, and eventually it's going to lead to an FBI investigation. Gee, it's really interesting because Democrats are like, how are they supposed to know? It doesn't matter. If you give somebody $20 for lunch, if you gave somebody $20 for lunch six months ago, and you're like, keep it, that person would very likely say, okay, well, you know what? He did me a favor. I'm going to do him a favor. That's what graft is all about, at least in terms of politics. But this is really interesting. So it's not the way it's set up. McCabe says he would absolutely not cut a deal with prosecutors. No, buddy. Sorry. It's actually not you who you don't have the initiative here. You're not in control here. William Barr is in control here. So you have done a lot to set up and frame Michael Flynn, to set up and frame Papadopoulos, to ultimately set up and frame President Trump. You utilized the Steele dossier. You sent, either you or Comey sent agents to Peter Strzok to London. But let me just backtrack real quick. He's going to be indicted for lying under oath pertaining to leaking information about the Clinton Foundation. Now, Democrats will say, he's leaking information about the Clinton Foundation. It shows the FBI is biased towards the Madam Secretary. No, he was doing so for self-serving purposes, to try to make it seem that he was fair and neutral, like Debbie Wasserman Schultz. It would be the equivalent of a law enforcement official trying to show off, even though that same law enforcement official is, stealing evidence or money. He was trying to say, look how I'm just going to give you some information on the Clinton Foundation. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know that I'm not. You wouldn't think that I'm compromised now, would you, America? So that's what the Office of Professional Responsibility stated McCabe did. That's what the Inspector General stated in the past IG reports. William Barr is either waiting for the IG report to come out to indict McCabe, which will be in a couple of weeks, or it's any day now. Either way, when you have McCarthy, the House Minority Leader, you have John Yoo, former Bush administration official, you have Matthew Whitaker, former acting Attorney General, you have even Ben Witz, who's James Comey's best friend at a publication called Lawfare. You have a whole bunch of people saying McCabe's going to get indicted imminently. They're using my line, imminently. When McCabe gets indicted, the dominoes fall. The thing here, and you'll hear McCabe right now, the thing here is that it's William Barr who is not really going to offer or accept any deals from McCabe. It's not McCabe who's going to dictate and set the guidelines and the parameters here. So you have an article today. McCabe says he would absolutely not cut a deal with prosecutors. September 18th, 2019. Oh, you wouldn't? You wouldn't, would you? You, the person who actually got caught because there was a flow of money to you. Somehow, some way, there was a flow of money that could have influenced you. You should have recused yourself. That's another part of this. The part where he doesn't recuse himself is a big deal. But here's the CNN contributor, Andrew McCabe. Check it out.
Absolutely not. Under any circumstances. Absolutely not. Under any circumstances.
Fredo.
Chris, I have said to you, I said from the very beginning, I absolutely reject that report because I never intentionally misled anyone about anything. And I will not stand up and claim that I've done something that I didn't do. So it won't happen.
Okay, so he's not, he says that he's not, let's just listen to this again. Kind of hilarious. Let's hear this again. Oh, Lord Almighty.
We are introducing...
Oh my God Almighty. Why does it always like an ad every second? It's fine. You have to make money. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. So he's saying, of course, it goes to my God Almighty, goes to a different interview. So this is The Hill, and then of course he's saying, "I will not accept a deal. I will not accept a deal. There is no deal for you to accept, buddy. There is no deal for you to accept. There is no deal for you to accept." Here, let's listen to this again. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Unbelievable. And now that this is everything that could go wrong at this moment.
Absolutely not. Under any circumstances. Absolutely not. Under any circumstances. Chris, I have said to you, I said from the very beginning, I absolutely reject that report because I never intentionally misled anyone about anything. And I will not stand up and claim that I've done something that I didn't do.
You intentionally misled Michael Flynn. You intentionally misled Michael Flynn when you said, yeah, just meet with Peter Strzok and another agent. He didn't lie. You had already listened to his phone conversations between Sergei Kislyak. You had no evidence that anyone in the Trump administration was working with Russia. You had no evidence of any wrongdoing from Michael Flynn. You misled everyone. You misled everyone. Then you said, well, we're going to have to go and prosecute Michael Flynn because he lied about a conversation with Sergei Kislyak to investigators. You had already heard listened to the conversation. The conversation was already tapped and surveilled and listened to and evaluated. There was no wrongdoing. There was no wrongdoing found. This was in the Washington Post. And then in the New York Times, right before the election, investigators found no information or no evidence of any Trump-Russia collusion. And that was in the New York Times, right before the election. So it's just unbelievable. So McCabe said he would absolutely not cut a deal with prosecutors. It's not for him to say. So this is a public relations stunt. Wait, I thought that and also, how is this not the story of today? Didn't his attorneys the other day said, well, we haven't been prosecuted yet. We want to hear what the grand jury had to say because we think the grand jury didn't find an indictment. Now he's saying he would absolutely not cut a deal. Which one is it? I thought you were very confident there would be no indictment. So you're talking about one of the people here who is one of the key figures, the central figures in all of this, along with Comey's, probably along with Comey, Clapper, Brennan, and Comey. He's probably the fourth, and maybe he's even more important than Clapper and Brennan. Clapper and Brennan helped start the whole mess. Brennan probably was the guy, well, the lack of intelligence, but the brains behind it. Comey he's kind of hilarious. He's like, he pretends that whenever he's cornered, he doesn't know any information, but then when he is questioned, you have to just trust what he knows because he knows so much more than you do. But McCabe was there after Comey was forced to leave, and he should have been fired even under President Obama's administration. He was insubordinate, but of course, how could he be? Because President Obama not only knew what was going on, he gave tacit approval. See, the way a political machine works, it's not like, well, President Obama happened to benefit because he's a Democrat, and Clinton's a Democrat also, and Democrats just happened to benefit by Comey saying, well, she didn't intentionally transfer top secret and special access program intelligence outside of the United States government onto servers running on Microsoft Exchange software. So he just happens to benefit from that. And President Obama and Democrats and Clinton happened to benefit from a special counsel. And it was just a coincidence that they benefited from Comey's memos that led to a special counsel. And it was just a coincidence that the United States intelligence community, quote unquote, utilized the dossier purchased by Clinton. Everything is just a coincidence. This is just business as usual. This has nothing to do with anything, any kind of conspiratorial endeavor. It just so happens that media and Democrats and Clinton and President Obama, who endorsed Clinton, just happened to benefit and save face after Trump won. And they were really worried about Russian interference. And the interference was that Russia hacked the DNC to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated. And alongside Facebook ads. And then what they do is they've created, even in this day and age, you have so much access to information, but human nature hasn't changed. So it really doesn't matter how much access to information you have. If you want to believe something, you will. If the smartest people in the room happen to be delusional regarding a certain issue, then they're going to try to set the narrative. And then the media is going to go ahead, and the media is not only disingenuous, they're actively promoting information they know not to be true. And now it's obstruction. Before it was Trump worked with Russia. Now it's obstruction. And now also it's, well, President Trump went after Andrew McCabe. That's why Andrew McCabe's going to get indicted. Well, what about Michael Flynn? Do you think the media was fair to him? What did he do wrong? What did Michael Flynn do wrong? Michael Flynn should be pardoned tomorrow. Michael Flynn should be pardoned tomorrow. He did nothing wrong. He was the national security advisor. They set up and fabricated this nonsense. Al Franken, who was forced to resign in disgrace, was one of the key people. They had all of these committee hearings. Trump won, and suddenly it was everything was about Russian interference, and the Russians worked with Trump, and they got this hysteria. They started this hysteria. Then the notion of having a conversation with Russia's ambassador to the United States, that was the underlying theme was, well, you were working to help infiltrate the DNC with Sergei Kislyak. And you were working to help spread Facebook ads. You were interfering in the election if you spoke to the Russian ambassador. Who cares? Who cares? He was the incoming national security advisor. And then I think it was the Logan Act. Like, well, he was a national security advisor when he was speaking. I'm like, this is all nonsense. This is all nonsense. It's like you hadn't prosecuted anyone. The government had not prosecuted anyone for 100 years or something like that. And furthermore, it was common practice. There wasn't anything wrong with what Michael Flynn did. And I wrote in the Federalist, you can read my article below, since collusion was not found, Michael Flynn should be pardoned. President Trump should pardon Michael Flynn. There's too much reverence. There's far too much reverence for protocol and bureaucracy and government. That's why, people are like, even Trump's administration said that Russia interfered in the election. Well, so then Trump's administration's wrong as well. The intelligence agencies have a budget. They're not stupid. And whereas they're constantly wrong on their continual, whether it's Gulf of Tonkin or Bush's failed quagmires or Facebook ads recently, they're always wrong on the biggest calls. Always wrong. But the difference between just analysis and intelligence failures is that intelligence failures lead to the Americans losing their lives. So the Gulf of Tonkin, that was an intelligence failure. You fast forward and 58,000 Americans, over 58,000 lost their lives, and then millions in Vietnam. And so then you say, well, it's just another intelligence failure. We can go, you can go just throughout each major event in U.S. history. Pearl Harbor there was an intelligence failure there. USS Maine, let's see, that's right. So we can just go ahead and we blame Spain. So you could just go and look. So from Ben, so this is 2000. So tell me why we should revere these people who are like, oh yeah, we're the smartest people in the room. It's true, you do need you need intelligence agencies, but you need them not to decide the course, the future of U.S. of the United States of America, of our democracy, of our republic. But McCabe, he goes just less than 5 days ago, his attorneys say, oh, well, they rejected indictment, and we want this thrown out, even though they tried to get it thrown out, and the Justice Department was like, nah, we're going to continue, and you're going to get indicted. Okay, the political will exists now for this indictment because it's an open and shut, clear-cut case. Now it's just a matter of trying to gather enough information for an actual prosecution, because they don't want to indict him, and then he just sits pretty and says, you know what, you can't get me. I'm not going to spill the beans on anyone. The reason they want McCabe, obviously, is to get to Comey and Strzok, and mainly Comey, Clapper, and Brennan. So, and he knows that. But he also knows that D.C., home field, he has home field advantage. So D.C. is not President Trump's, even though he's president, D.C. is Andrew McCabe's home field. So he feels that, you know what, I'm just going to either wait it out or wait till they indict me, and almost certainly they won't have enough evidence on me. And if they don't have enough evidence, I'll just end up writing another book, and I'll be a hero to the left. I don't think it'll work that way. I don't think it's going to work that way at all. Once he gets indicted, it's game over. It's game over for a lot of people because the IG report's coming out. So that might be why they're waiting a little bit. The IG report's coming out, and that might be the crescendo or the dramatic moment that Democrats wanted yesterday, Republicans can have when the IG report comes out and we find out even more information about Andrew McCabe. Andrew McCabe, what he did was he just took the baton from James Comey, except he was sloppy. There was a transfer of money to him. Somehow, there was a transfer of money where he should have recused himself. Democrats say, well, it's his wife, not him. It's like, yeah, if Melania got $100 from a Republican political action committee, it would be hashtag $100, hashtag Melania, hashtag this. They would never stop. There is no value system on the left. They feel, look, Democrats feel that they can do, that they can act a certain way, and if Republicans or conservatives act that way, that's out of bounds. You can't do that. Did I go through 20 minutes without mentioning that Clinton's going to run again? This can't be the case. Tell me, to my 20-minute crowd, did I go through 20 minutes? Because Clinton's running again, yes. All of this was for a political paradigm and a political machine. All of this, people, all of this. Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. If you like sports, check out H.A. Goodman's sports channel. I'm going to try to grow it and get it to at least a couple thousand before I start my segments. Thank you.